We are back on Freshwaves. We're in the studio with Jolana Pettifer of Jolana's Exceptional Home Decor and Hal Horton of Horton's Tree Farms, of which there are 3. How do people get there? Where are they?
They're all in Whitchurch Stouffville, actually. Our home farm is at Warden and Slater's Road, just a little bit east of Vandorf. So, south of Aurora Road on Warden.
Right.
That farm won't be open until December 2nd.
Why?
There's not as many trees, and we don't want to... we want to... Oh, well, the first weekend, because it's the 25th, we're not sure.
Right.
People should be satisfied. All our farms are unique, have basically the same kind of trees.
Right.
So, anyway, we'll have that one open for 3 weeks, and we're open at the Magic Hill Farm on the 9th line north of Bloomington. Mm-hmm. On weekends starting November 25th, and at our farm at Kennedy north of the Aurora Road, the same, weekends of the 25th. We will be open during the week coming through December, and you'll have to look at our website, www.hortontreefarms.com, to find out which one we've finally decided. It's usually the Kennedy Street Farm for Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays as you get closer to Christmas.
Right.
But it's basically a weekend
thing.
That's when most of the show is on, and for sure there's bonfires and wagon rides and everything else.
It is a whole day excursion, right? Isn't it? It's a really fun thing to do.
Oh, yeah. What an outing. For the price of the tree, you're also getting... a day out in the forest. A day out in a wagon ride.
I think we're spoiled here. We're in the country. We get to experience
more often.
Oh my goodness. So when you get the people coming from even Markham or the city areas, they come up here. It is so foreign to them. So they don't just get in their car and drive. They actually stay and, look around and walk around.
I love driving down Aurora Road towards Stouffville.
Yes.
On any December weekend, and you see all of these cars heading back to the
other way.
Every single one has a tree on top of it.
And the odd one is a little bigger than perhaps the car should be, right?
I love the ones where the front, they always put the pointy part of the tree at the front. I would turn it the other way around so that the wind is blowing through the tree and
make it aerodynamic. Yes,
exactly.
That's the way to do it.
But you always see them with the other way around, and the front of the tree just flapping up and down in the wind is the funniest thing. And you think, oh, there come the idiots.
So what are your words of wisdom about size matters here?
Look at the space that you have in your space where you want your tree. It might be 5 feet wide and 8 feet tall, which, tall the ceiling. Your ceiling height is the first thing. Yeah. Most are 8. Mm-hmm. But of course, there's a lot that have a taller ceiling, and of course, taller trees do cost a bit more money in most cases. It's also harder on a cut-your-own farm to find the perfect tall tree.
Yeah.
Because all the ones that were the good ones will go every year. There's we only have a certain number that are ready for that year. And so the good ones tend to go first on the early weekends. Anyway, your space is important.
Very important, because in a field...
In the field, your perception... your perception is completely off. I know from many years of experience that take a measuring tape.
Yeah,
or use yourself as a gauge. Yeah. If you're 5 feet or 6 feet, then you should be able to figure it out. But there's also, you've got to look at the base of the tree. Maybe the bottom foot or two is not good.
Yeah.
And will end up getting trimmed. So what you really want is from the top of the tree down, whether that's going to be 6, 7, or 9 or feet.
And then you want to have space for the star or whatever ornament you're going to put on the top, which can sometimes be an extra foot.
For sure.
On the top of
it. And there are tricks that you can use. Like there are stands that are different heights. So if you find a 6-foot tree, there are beautiful stands to give you that extra 1.5 feet if you need it, right?
Yeah. So, and you have to account for leaving usually around at least a 12, maybe 14-inch trunk up to the first layer of good branches.
Right, because you want lots of presents to go underneath those, right?
You don't go in and just start cutting right away. It's good to measure.
Agreed.
And then leave yourself a little extra on the trunk measure from the top down to see which 7 feet of the tree you want and which side you got to go around, because
it's a live thing. It's
more often than not, it's going into a corner or against a wall. It doesn't have to be perfect all the way around.
Yes.
Look around the tree and say, okay, this is the side we want. And put your mitten in there, or tie a little ribbon or a clamp and say, this is the good side. Because you don't need a perfect tree all the way around, and it's really hard to grow a perfect tree all the way around.
Because some of it's exposed to the sun and some of it isn't.
And in the north, there are other trees are close by. Yeah. And so there's usually always going to be a fall. Actually, a number 1 tree is 3 out of 4 sides.
Right.
Yeah. That would make perfect sense. Now, do you let people come in with their own chainsaw and go have at her?
If they need to. We do provide saws. A chainsaw is pretty, we don't really like it, but there's only get a couple a year that actually think they need to bring in their chainsaw. or their battery powered jigsaw, or
Tim the Toolman Taylor.
And even axes. I've seen guys come with axes and hack them down, and we hope they don't hurt themselves.
Do you have saws available if people don't have that
absolutely.
kind of equipment?
We have Swede saws that are meant for cutting down just 3-4 inch trunks, and you don't have to bring a saw. Some guys will have their own brush saw, Swede saw, even a good carpenter saw will work.
Yes.
Anything that's a reasonably sharp saw should go.
If someone comes and they have no equipment, can you actually go and cut it for them? They choose their tree and keep Junior there?
We won't. No, we will gently coax them toward the field with the saw in hand. We'll give them a sawing lesson. But no, if we were to go out and cut a tree for everybody that requested we'd have no staff to take care of the customers that are out there cutting their own like they're supposed to be.
Right. But that's why the cut your own comes into play.
There's certainly people that are new to it that come every year and they say, we have never done this and we don't know what to do, and will you go out and do it for us? And sure, we just had to explain. We said, just watch the other 10 people that are out there, and we'll tell them the way to cut the tree properly so that it's not too hard. And
it doesn't fall on them.
And
tell them to go watch Christmas Vacation.
And
what not to do.
I've seen numerous trees, not quite that size, but certainly very, very close, stuffed onto Volkswagens and... Oh my gosh, and they just have no idea what size it is, and they can't get it through the door.
So do you tie them on? Because I picture it as a torpedo going down the highway if they have to make a quick
once
stop.
Again, that's something that if we do, then we're sort of responsible for it. We provide rope.
Okay.
And string for those who didn't bring it.
Are the trees bundled for the most part?
Yes, we'll bail them into a little tube.
Okay, that's perfect.
So they don't have to go on the top. They can, depending on what kind of vehicle, they can sometimes be slid right inside if you have a plastic bag. They can, some vehicles have roof racks, which makes it pretty easy.
Yep.
They can go in the angle in the trunk. But with enough string... Some of the newer, smaller cars are pretty slippery, round little roofs. You have to be pretty good. And I've seen people tie it so much. I've seen people tie it through their doors and up and over the top. And just at finishing, realize that they can't open their door
to get in.
So they have to cut that off, open both doors, tie it all again, and then get in and shut the doors.
And that's why you
pretty much
seen
it all. Pretty much seen it all, and just about every weekend, at the end of every Saturday or Sunday night, there's 4 or 5 people there in the dark. Wet and struggling, and then I do have enough staff that are waiting to go home that, yes, we do help them at that point in time.
Because you want them to leave. You've had a really good day. It's time to go now.
Yeah, there's always funny things that happen, right? At the end of the day, the last customer will have a flat tire or something like that.
Oh, my.
So, anyways, it's an adventure.
But that's all part of the experience.
It's an adventure.
Right?
It's the fun, and you're there with the family, and everybody's playing and having fun.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good time. You're listening to Fresh Waves on Whistle FM. We have Jolana Pettifer in the studio, and she's got a dash out. So thank you for coming in this morning, Jolana.
Thank you. That was great
and
fun.
We're going to continue our little conversation here about trees. We've brought them in. You sucked up the water. You put them in the stand. Now, you've got to water them every day? or every other day, or how does it work?
You just got to monitor it. Look at the level of the water in your stand that should hold, at least 4 liters. And the trunk being
That's
down.
a lot of water.
That's a small stand. It should be bigger. The bigger, the better.
Really?
You can submerge them in a 5-gallon pail would be sufficient. You can hang them from the ceiling, actually, and into a 5-gallon pail or a bigger pail. I've done that before. Just watch the water level. You'll get natural, I guess, it'll evaporate by itself just in the room.
Right.
And the tree in the early days, if you didn't do that bucket trick, it'll empty the little stand in the first day, goes below the level of the trim or the cut, and at that point the sapwood or the cambium seals with the gum, and no matter how much more water you put in there, it's not going to take it in. So you got to actually reach down in and shave it off again with your butcher knife, or just open up that wood a little bit better.
Okay, and then you're going to be doing that. For the
daily. You watch daily. At some point, the tree will stop absorbing, and at that point, it's drank enough, and that's the optimum conditions.
Right.
And then you just wait. And when the needles start dropping, actually, you can buy the skirts that go at the base of the tree that are plastic bags. I've used the same one 4 years in a row now. It's just a giant garbage bag.
And then you put your decorative one over top.
Yeah.
So that when you're ready to...
And you just... fold it up over, get it out to the side of the road for recycling, and take the bag off and use it again next year, or use it for something else. Reuse it. Tree bags, they actually have them. We do sell them. I usually sell out.
Fake tree. Because I take the fake tree and one piece and put it in the basement standing up, but I wrap it in a tarp. That sounds like a lot more efficient.
Go buy the biggest garbage bag you can find.
Yeah, just wrap it in a garbage bag. Actually, the artificial trees, like a real tree, have a shelf life. There comes a point where, after 21 years, the artificial tree is probably past
It's actually less than that. It's been proven that it's less than that. I think the average is more like 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, mine's 21 years old this year.
And before people just want to change.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
they've improved them a lot in the last 20 years. I can honestly say
they have. I have to admit that. Yeah.
And it's funny too, because people have said to me, "I don't want a real tree because you can't manipulate it the way you can a fake tree, because the fake trees are artificial. The artificial trees are made of wire, so you can bend a branch to kind of suit your need, but you can still do that, like you were just saying, with a real tree. You can use that florist's wire and wire things.
Sure, you can
over to the side. You can
invent
snip
all
a bit
sorts
off.
of things.
Yeah, sure you can.
Yeah.
And if you hang something that's really heavy, it draws that branch down, and now it's created a space for something else over above it. Because it's pulled that branch down a bit. You've got another little space above it. That happens to me every year.
Besides the artificial tree, you can have the bowl of artificial fruit and the artificial flowers. People want the real thing sometimes.
They do. You need the real thing. Now, what about the garlands for the fireplace? Can we have a real garland on a fireplace?
You can have an urn with water and fresh twigs in it. But no, things like cedar roping or anything like that wouldn't...
It's a fire hazard, too.
Oh, for sure. Or any kind of a candle holder idea that looks cute, but no, not a good idea.
Do you guys sell
certainly
garland?
Outdoors, certainly in cooler parts.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that have Muskoka rooms or three-season rooms, so
and you
absolutely 100%. It looks beautiful.
Yeah,
to do the live
garden planters out the front.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, you can put the temporary tree out in the front yard. You can take, in the front gardens by the doorstep. There's no reason why you can't, through the mulch, jam some sticks and twigs. And if they're not decorated, they'll still look good all winter long.
Yeah.
And just pull them out in the spring. And so you've got an instant evergreen sort of a decoration there.
For all those new homes out there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why
that
not?
doesn't have a lot of landscaping. And then you have an outside railing, so a garland looks
you
nice.
Put flowers in as annuals. Why not do a winter thing?
When you get because you do sell garland, right? You do sell just branches as opposed to trees, whole trees. You can buy just branches, right?
Yeah, I have bunches of branches that are available mixed with red dogwood and pines and fir. And,
okay. Now, if you
can
do
make
that,
your own stuff.
if you do that and you've got an outside railing, you know, a lot of the new homes in the subdivisions have these little tiny, maybe 3-4 feet long wrought iron railings on the porch. So you walk up the steps and then you've got this little railing. If you put the real garland out there beautiful. On that, will it stay green?
Yep.
It's not in water, though. It's just outside. But it's outside, so it doesn't...
It's right on the south facing. It might start to get a little orange after a month or two, but no, it'll stay green through January, and yeah, there's no reason.
And we're going to let Jolana get on her way because she's got an appointment at noon.
Have a great decorating week or two, and I hope everyone makes it out for the Christmas trees.
Oh, thank you.
I hope so, too.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah,
okay. Bye, Jolana. Thanks for coming in. So, okay, so we can actually have that outside, and it doesn't need to have a water source. It's just going to be
it's frozen. It's dormant.
And it looks nice.
Yeah. Just as the trees are, all that goes back to the question is how fresh are they going to be and when were they cut? Some wholesale trees start to be cut in the second and third week of October, baled and stacked in a cool area in the shade, and they keep just as well like that as ones, as I described before, get drier and drier as the fall goes on, as the trees become more and more dormant.
Right.
Once all the ground freezes up, there's nothing going on. So
right. Well, I will say that last year I took your advice with the outside urn, and I did cut the tree, the branches. I put them in moist dirt, and when it all froze over, they were there until, I'm ashamed to say, the
probably
end.
June?
Yeah, May, for sure, May. And they were still green. They started to go brown in May when everything started to unfreeze, and then they kind of thought, oh yeah, I am dead. But they were fantastic for the whole winter. And as I took out all of the things that were really Christmassy, just pulled those little rods with little balls,
and then you got
I took the lights off, and they just looked fantastic.
Otherwise it'd be an empty urn.
Yeah. Because it was all just green then, and it just looked nice with a couple pieces of the white birch in the back, and it looked fantastic.
Yeah,
it was a good idea.
There's no reason why you can't get more life out of that.
Yeah,
for sure.
And it looks nice through the whole winter, which is a good thing because there's, like you said, why not have some winter decoration as well as summer decoration?
Well, with the moisture in the soil in the urn, if the twigs were reasonably freshly cut, they'll actually start absorbing the moisture and stay green, like you said, till almost June.
Yeah.
Until they finally realize, geez, my God, no roots. But by that time, hopefully, Brenda, you've already got your other summer and springtime planting.
Right.
Your cabbage or
underway.
Yeah.
So what are the kinds of trees that people can get from Horton Tree Farms? What are the species that you guys have? Probably
way more than, I mean, it's pretty much a mono species when you go to the supermarkets.
Right.
There's pretty much all fir. You can get some spruce and some pine.
But at your place?
At our place, we have 5 types of spruces, 5 or 6 types of firs, not as many because they're so popular. They do go first. We probably have 15 or more species of trees.
Wow. So if you open next week, someone could come in and get any one of those species, and they will last right through till Christmas as long as you do what
they might all look the same to them. As the grower, I can tell the difference.
Right.
Basically, there's 3 species: firs, pines, and spruces.
Now, the spruce, when you say you had all those different varieties, do you actually have one that is... it's not obviously the right term, but a blue spruce, one that has that blue tinge to it?
Yes. The Colorado spruce, which comes in everything from green to brilliant blue. Yeah, we're growing those. And also the Norway spruce, one of our better growing trees, is a beautiful emerald green with an orange twig.
Wow.
The white spruce, which is indigenous or native to Canada and around here, comes in all different colors, just from the seed source. And
now, does it retain the color when you've got it in your planter, or does it kind of fade to a normal green?
It should stay the same as when it was
color.
cut. Yep.
Isn't that neat?
But the blue color does not show up with Christmas lights on or much inside the house.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah,
it needs the sunlight.
It needs the sunlight to be able to see that blue. So it could be a...
And then if you put it in the sun, it's not got the longevity because it's too warm. So there you go. See, you don't need a blue spruce. You just
No,
need a
you can
nice-
have a Charlie Brown with all your beautiful decorations on
And
it.
it
It's going to
still
be
looks
beautiful.
good.
And you mentioned that at the start. Yeah, I've seen some real Charlie Browns come out where there was a stump that I'd forgotten to cut down in a far corner that's growing 4 different trees coming off the one stump. I've seen people with those before. And all odd shapes. You don't have to conform to the perfect tree every time.
My family always had a short, fat tree, and we called it George every year.
A Scots pine, probably, in the
and
early
we'd always
days.
say, okay, this weekend we're going out to get George. And we'd all go out to look for George. And George was never more than 5 feet tall, and George was 5 feet wide as well.
That's a good challenge for your dad to make a stand that'll hold old George up, I guess.
No, he had
Hang
wooden
it from the
beams.
ceiling.
So he had the tree was always tied with black thread from the tree, black fishing line. You know the one that you use for
I was just going
lake
to say.
trout?
I was just going to say,
So
you
it
can
goes
use
way deep down.
fishing line is
Yep.
perfect for doing
so
that.
we
You
would use
can't see it.
100-pound line and tie it from the top, and it was tied off all these guy lines running out to the wooden beams in the room, and it was just kind of comical. But every year we went looking for George.
Yeah.
George the tree. Anyway, we've got to wrap up the show. Hal, thank you very much for coming in. We always love the information that you have to share with people. There's a lot of misconception out there that if you get a real tree, it's only going to last a week, and it's going to be a horrible mess. It lasts for 6 weeks if you do it right. And if you get out there in the next couple of weeks, then you're going to be getting the pick of the crop. You'll get whatever tree you really want. If you wait until the 3rd week of December, you've got whatever's left over. And that's probably not the best way to go. You'd want to get out there when you can.
There's always still some
Yes, always. But
there.
go for the crop.
Yeah,
pick a crop.
if you start early, have your family outing, because as it gets into December, you get
Busy.
extremely busy on weekends. It's hard to put a day aside.
Yeah.
So
It's a good time of year to
that's my
get out there.
suggestion. Come in the earlier part of the season and store your tree away and
Go at it from there.
and water it.
Water it, and scrape it down if it needs to, and all that kind of fun stuff.
And enjoy it with knowledge that it's grown as a crop and reusable and replanted every year.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? If you've missed any of this show and you think, what did he say about that? You can always listen to the podcasts. They're available on my website, freshwaves.ca. You've been listening to Fresh Waves on Whistle FM. Join us every Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock for great conversation, interesting topics, and always a lot of fun. Thanks for your help behind the board, Jay Rumball.
My pleasure.
And we'll close out the show with one of my favorite Christmas tunes. This is the Trans-Siberian Orchestra with Christmas Eve in Sarajevo. Have a great day, everyone. listening to Freshwaves, a Whistle FM production. I'm your host, Brenda Masson, and our technical producer is Jason Rumball. Tune in every Wednesday at 10 a.m. for Freshwaves here on Whistle FM, 102.9 on the FM dial and whistlefm.com anywhere in the world. Freshwaves is available on podcast too. Just go to whistlefm.ca or freshwaves.ca. We podcast all of the Freshwaves shows so that you can listen at your leisure. Freshwaves. It really is